Hi, everyone. My name's Cody Hankerson, and I'm the Organizing Director for March for Science Action. And I'm really excited to be joining you again tonight for our second episode of Black in S.T.E.M. Last week, we focused on more of the science aspect of STEM, and we talked to a nurse practitioner from Omaha, and huge shout out to Dr. Angela Felton Coleman for sharing all of her different experience with COVID-19. It won't be the last time we talk about it in this show. But this week, I also wanted to talk about technology. And I think that it's in large part because so many of us are dealing with technology on a day-to-day basis now. And a lot of us are seeing how far we have to come in the digital sphere, but also how quickly it's developing. And so to talk about this, I wanted to bring in a pro in the field, somebody who has a majority minority owned small business. And this is actually a new acquaintance of mine. And his name is Vince Collis. So welcome onto the show, Vince.
Hey
How you
Cody, how you
doing?
doing? I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. So I wanted to hype you up a little bit, but I'd like to hear it from you. Could you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Vince Collis. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm a partner at Title Fight. We've been in business for about 10 years, and we're a media firm in democratic politics. And what we specialize in, we pretty much build digital and social media campaigns for politicians.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I feel like it's niche. Now that I've gotten into more of like the political sphere of not only just campaigns, but also nonprofits, I see how like critical it is that you actually get somebody that knows what they're doing, all the way from like a website to sending emails to doing ads. Like I thought I knew how to use Facebook. And then I did one of those training courses. I was like, oh, yeah, never mind. Never mind. I don't. But could you tell us a little bit about how you got into the space? Like, how did you get to where you're at today in with you owning a business?
Yeah. So I mean, just getting into the tech field in general, like I was very privileged at a young age to have access to computers.
Mhm.
When we had moved, we moved in with my grandfather because my mom wanted to go back and get her master's.
Mhm.
And our upstairs neighbor worked in computers. I don't remember what he did. He just had a ton of computers around his house. And this is like 94. So you have
Oh,
the
yeah.
big, right. It's I'm 60.
Yeah.
You have the big clunky like desktop that you sit the even bigger monitor on top of, right?
Hmm.
And he sold my mom one of the computers for cheap, and it was like before Windows. It had MS DOS on it, and I had a. And he gave me a bunch of like reading games and stuff. So I was sitting there playing like Mario's Teacher's Typing like for
Hey.
like hours as a kid when I was like 6, and I just always like a computer's introduced to me as a tool for learning.
Hmm.
And then throughout like elementary and middle school, after school, I'd always go to the boys club in New York and sit in the computer lab for 3 hours after I do my homework.
Hmm.
So from like as long as I can remember until high school, I had a computer in my space, always available to me to just educate me.
And it's huge. It's huge. Just being able to navigate, I feel like, and be able to play with it. I feel like when you're a kid, you can just go over and you're like, well, I don't, you're not thinking, oh, I might break this computer or, oh, this computer's brand new. You're just trying to figure out how it works. And that's awesome. I think we're going to talk a little bit later on about how to get other kids in that situation where you were kind of at. But what
Mhm.
happened? So like you were around it growing up, and then did you decide to go to school for it, or did you just hop right in, or what led you to that?
No, see, you know what? Around high school, this like level of like complacency kind of hit me, and I was afraid of, I think the commitment that was needed to, or what I thought the commitment that was needed to go into STEM and learning how to code and being like making that my life.
Yeah. It's
And it did
intimidating
come back
now.
full circle. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it came back full circle. It just took a lot of maturity on my
Mhm.
end. But as far as my business goes, I mean, I met so one thing you won't see in my resume, I worked at Apple Retail for a while,
Oh,
and that's actually where I met my business partner. And we started out as a PR firm, and we were just doing this for small businesses.
nice.
And pretty much like 3 times a week, we'd be hanging out, and for 3 hours, we'd either be yelling at each other or yelling at the TV when we were watching like Chris Matthews, Chris Hayes, and Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
And we were just like, yo, we like politics. I think this is the space that we actually want to be in.
Mhm.
Um, and something happened right around that time too. So Facebook had just released something called Facebook Dark Posts.
Mhm.
Um, and that's pretty much where you can like A/B test ads without running them to like the whole public.
Mm.
And they also had a tool, a back-end tool that a lot of people didn't know about, that they partnered with a company called Axiom, where you can give like lists of data and they would match the Facebook profiles to it. So everybody has access to this now. So like it's part of Facebook Business Manager.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like this like private tool. And we were just like, yo, this is going to like change the world. And it
Yeah, and it did.
right? Like some companies use their power for evil, like, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
did. And we were just like, yo, how do we bring this into our business, right? So we put our heads down and we were just like let's learn everything we can. So my commitment was I started taking classes online to kind of like better myself in STEM. Not Apple, what is it called? I think iUniversity is what it was called. And it was pretty much all the Ivies and all the top schools in the country just put up like audio, like recordings of their classes. So I was able to take like calculus at MIT, right, for free.
Yeah, that's
right, in my bedroom.
Harvard has something like that now.
Yeah, so
like,
I did that too. So I used the MIT course to prep for Harvard Extension School. Yeah. And I took classes in a data science track. And that's where I was introduced into like, I sharpened like my probability and statistics skills. And that's where I learned R. And R just like, it completely changed our business. Like even now, we still use it a lot because it allowed us to open up the voter file. And if you've ever opened up the voter file in Excel, your computer will blow up. Because it's millions of data points, right?
Yeah.
Of information. And R just kind of like helped us wrangle all that information together. And I learned how to code a little better. And it allowed our business to take off.
No, that's amazing though. And I think that especially with the online resources, even with this, I feel like just running into the constant being like, oh, I found this resource, or I get to be self-taught with this. It makes so big of a difference. And I'm from Sioux City, Iowa. And so in between here and which part of Iowa are you over in? Or are you not stationed over?
No, I'm on the East Coast right now.
On the East Coast, yeah. So in between here and there, especially, there are a lot of places that like have still dial-up internet or like broadband internet that is so shaky that you can't not only watch like a YouTube video, but you definitely can't do any like higher level coding. And at that point, you could have all of the hardware that you want, and it just doesn't mean anything. Or you could be in the middle of a big city and not be able to afford, access to a computer or internet every month. It's expensive,
right?
But that's awesome. And then so you got into like the political realm, and you had met your partners, and then what was it like kind of get into the space or just starting it up? Did you feel like, all right, we got this, we have like a firm grasp into the field? Did you have any doubts going in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been doing this for about 10 years now as a business, and we feel like we didn't really have a great understanding of like how to navigate the business of politics until like a cycle or two ago. It was a huge learning curve just because we did it from like a non-traditional background.
Right.
A lot of people, they had been organizing and joining campaigns since they were children, and that's not what I did. I mean, I after school I went and had a job at Apple Retail, and from there, that's where I learned a lot more about technology and how to share technology with other people, and help them see like how it could be equitable in their lives. And that kind of like facilitated also like my journey in bringing technology into our business and working with it.
No, I mean, that's amazing, especially with especially with your business being majority minority owned. I was looking at one of the articles from, I think it was the New York Times, that was talking about 13% or less. I think it was 11% of the tech field in total being Black. And I thought about it, and I was just like, well, I mean, how many people actually have access to not only the internet, just baseline, but also the software that you need, the electricity, the space that you need, the programs that you need in order to do all these things, whether it be graphic design or anything like that. I guess getting into the question of how we could incorporate more Black people into a space where they could join, you and join others in the field of technology, what would you recommend? Like if you had the ear of like the president or of the vice president,
Sure.
like what would you recommend?
I mean, just to even back up a little bit. So
Yeah.
I think the reason why that number looks like that too is because the level of access that exists right now
Hmm.
wasn't even there necessarily 10 years ago,
Yeah.
right? Like we had just started to put classes online at the rate that we do it. Udemy wasn't popping yet,
Yeah.
right?
People
Like
were coding on MySpace.
right, right,
Yeah.
you know? So I think that in the coming years, the one thing I like to say, like the gatekeepers are gone when it comes to tech,
Yeah.
right? Like and 5G, 4G, 5G broadband is getting more and more placed all across the country. Like you're able
Mhm.
to take classes from anywhere. And I hopefully we're going to see that number change. But I think the fact that the gatekeepers are gone, you can access the internet from your cell phone. You can code. There's like coding websites where like you can practice